Dear son, I want to tell you something I should have said a long time ago. Not when you were 16 and I saw your jaw tighten at the dinner table. That jaw that looked exactly like mine. And I said nothing. Not even on the day you became a man, however you define that day for yourself. I want to tell you now on an ordinary day, with no occasion and no camera. Just me, and this letter, and everything I've been carrying since the moment they put you in my arms. I can still feel the weight of you. 7 pounds 4 ounces. The softest and most terrifying thing I had ever held. And I looked at your face, that crumpled, ancient, brand new face, and I made a silent promise I didn't know how to keep. I will protect you from everything that hurt me, but somehow I feel I failed. Not completely, not maliciously, but I failed in the way that parents who love their children still manage to fail them. In the quiet ways, the everyday ways, the ways that take decades to see clearly. You are probably in your 30s now, maybe your late 20s, maybe older, navigating something hard. I know this even without knowing the details, because that is just what this season of life is. The career that doesn't look the way you planned. The relationship that asked more of you than you knew you had. The face in the mirror that looks back with questions you haven't answered yet. And somewhere in the middle of all that, I suspect you are still doing what I taught you to do. Holding it together. I remember the afternoon your grandfather died. You were 9 years old. You had loved him in that pure, uncomplicated way children love their grandparents. You came home from school, and I sat you down, and I told you. And your face did this thing. This complicated, frightened, breaking thing. And then you stopped it. I watched you stop it. You pressed your lips together. You nodded. You said, "Okay." And I said, "That's my boy." I have spent years regretting those 3 words because what you heard was, "This is who you need to be." What I should have said was, "Come here." What I should have done was let you fall apart in my arms, the way a 9-year-old is supposed to fall apart when someone he loves is gone. But I didn't know how to hold grief that wasn't mine. I barely knew how to hold my own. So I passed you a lie dressed up as a compliment. I called it strength. And you, because you were 9 and you trusted me, you believed me. Here is what I've learned since then. What I called strength was actually armor. And armor is not the same thing as strength. Armor is heavy. Armor is isolating. Armor means walking through your own life at a distance. Strength, in contrast, real strength, is the ability to feel the full weight of something and not run from it. I gave you armor. I told you it was strength. And then I wonder why, even now, you stand slightly apart from your own joy. There is a specific kind of exhaustion that comes from never falling apart. It doesn't feel like exhaustion at first. It feels like control. It feels like competence. It feels like you are the one person in the room who can be relied upon. And for a while, maybe a long while, that feels like enough. But somewhere in your mid-20s, or maybe your 30s, a strange thing starts to happen. You notice that other people seem to feel things more fully than you do. They cry at movies, and they laugh too loudly, and they say, "I love you," with their whole chest. And you watch them the way a person behind glass watches a party. You are there. You are present. But there is something between you and the room. That something has a name. It is every tear you swallowed at 9 years old. Every time I said, "Be strong," instead of "be honest." Every afternoon you spent being fine instead of being real. Now that you're an adult, now that you're possibly a partner, a father, a person someone else depends on, I wonder if you understand the cost of this in a way that I didn't when I was your age. Because here is the truth about armor. It doesn't just keep pain out. It keeps everything out. The grief, yes, but also the wonder, the tenderness, the ordinary sweetness of an ordinary Tuesday. I think of a tree in winter, a tree that has been pruned so aggressively for so many seasons that it has learned not to grow in certain directions. It is still a tree. It is still alive. It still bears fruit. But there are whole branches that never developed, whole directions it was never allowed to reach. I pruned you, son. I pruned you with my silences and my shaking off and my quiet approval every time you held it together when you had every right to fall apart. I'm sorry. I am so deeply sorry for that, my son. And I want you to know, it is not too late to grow in those directions. It is never too late. The branches don't know it's late. They just know the light. Turn toward the light, even now, even at your age, even after everything. I have to tell you something uncomfortable. I have to tell you why I really taught you to be strong. It wasn't entirely for you. Some of it was. I genuinely believed that toughness was a form of love. That I was preparing you for a world that would not soften itself for your feelings. That was real. That was not a lie. But some of it, the part I've spent the most time sitting with, was for me. Your tears frightened me. Not because I didn't love you, but because I didn't know what to do with it. Because no one had ever sat with me in mine. I grew up in a house where feelings were managed, not felt, where competence was love, where doing was the only language for caring. Nobody sat with me when I cried. Nobody said, "Tell me everything." They fixed things. They moved forward. They showed up. And so I became a person who fixes and moves forward and shows up. And I raised you to be the same. This is the cycle I promised to break. Not completely. Not in the moments that counted most. Now that you are perhaps watching your own child reach for you, or perhaps watching the person you love most cry and feeling that same ancient panic, that same not knowing what to do, I hope you hear me when I say, you are allowed to not know what to do. You are allowed to sit in the discomfort of someone else's pain without fixing it. You are allowed to say, I don't know what to say, but I'm here. That is not weakness. That is the bravest sentence a person can say. The bravest thing I never said to you. I want you to understand something about your own life. About the anxiety that sometimes wakes you up at 3 a.m. About the way you work too hard and rest too little. About the way you have sometimes confused being needed with being loved. All of that is a learned response. None of that is a character flaw. It was adaptive once. It kept you safe when safety meant performing stability. But you are not 9 years old anymore. You do not need to perform stability for me. You never needed to perform anything for me. Just didn't know how to tell you that. I want to talk about the people you've loved. And the ones who are loving you now. I wonder if you have ever, even once, let someone really hold you, not just your body, your actual weight. The full, unedited, uncertain weight of who you are on a bad day. I wonder if you have stayed too long in situations that diminished you because leaving felt like weakness. I wonder if you have been the strong one so consistently that the people close to you have stopped offering you a hand. Not because they don't care, but because you've never appeared to need one. I wonder if you know how to receive love. Real love should not require you to disappear. It should not require you to manage your own needs quietly in a back room so that someone else can occupy the center of your shared life. It should not cost you your voice or your rest or the right to say, I'm struggling today. If you are in love with someone, I hope they know you. Not the version of you that handles things, but the version of you that doesn't know what to do sometimes. The version that is tired. The version that lies awake worrying about the wrong things. The version that still, in some small way, misses being someone's child. If they know that person and they stay, really stay, then you have found something extraordinary. Let them stay. Please, let them stay. And if you are a parent now, if you are looking at your own child and feeling the particular terror of loving someone this much, this completely, this hopelessly, then I want you to know something. You do not have to get it perfect. The goal is not perfection. The goal is repair. Children don't need parents who never break. They need parents who break and then come back and say, that was mine, not yours. I'm sorry. I'm still here. That is the cycle breaking, not the absence of harm. The presence of accountability. That is the difference between what I gave you and what I wish I'd given you. I am getting older. I feel it in the mornings now, and in the way I think about time differently than I used to. And I want to say something to you that might be uncomfortable to hear. One day, the roles will shift. One day, you may be the one taking care of me. And I need you to know, when that time comes, I do not need you to be strong for me. I do not want my own medicine fed back to me. I want you to feel whatever you feel. Grief, if it comes. Frustration, if it comes. Love, especially love, in all its complicated, unglamorous forms. Do not hold it together for my sake. I spent too much of your life asking you to hold it together. I'm asking you now, officially, to stop. Please, son. Please let yourself be sad when you are sad. Please let yourself be uncertain in the presence of people who love you. Please stop apologizing for needing things. Please stop making yourself small so other people feel comfortable. Please stop treating your own exhaustion as a problem to be solved and start treating it as a message to be heard. Your restlessness is not a flaw. Your sensitivity is not a liability. Your need for connection is not weakness. These are the parts of you I tried to prune. They are also the parts of you that are most alive. I hope you have found, or that you find, a space where you are allowed to be all of it. All the contradictions, the ambition and the doubt, the love and the fear, the competence and the confusion. I hope you stop performing and start inhabiting. Your life, your actual, messy, magnificent life. I see you. I see you in the middle of a hard week, jaw tight, holding it all together the way I taught you. I see you being the one who shows up, who handles it, who doesn't fall apart until the door is closed and no one is watching. I see you. And I want you to know that you are not failing when you fall apart, and you are not weak when you ask for help. You are not too much when you need something. You are just a person, a whole, complicated, worthy person, with a body that is not an apology, with a heart that was never meant to be managed, with a life that belongs entirely to you, not to my expectations, not to anyone else's comfort, and not to the version of you that learned to be strong before he was ready. You are enough. Not if you hold it together. Not if you figure it out. Not when you've healed all the right things and broken the right cycles and become the right kind of man. Right now, exactly as you are, in the middle of whatever you are carrying. You are enough. I love you, not for what you've accomplished or endured, not for the grace you've shown or the strength you've performed. I love you because you exist, because you are mine, because on the day I held you, 7 pounds and 4 ounces and completely new to the world, I understood for the first time that some things are worth everything. You were worth everything. You still are. With all my heart, your dad, your mom, whoever raised you, whoever loved you, whoever is sending this now,